CGTN's social media platform. I'm Silkina Ahluwalia. I am CGTN's correspondent based in Indonesia. Right now I am in Lombok in Indonesia, and we're here monitoring the aftermath of the earthquake that hit Lombok 3 days ago on Sunday, which was around 7 magnitude earthquake, and also 5 days ago, which was around 6.3 magnitude. And we're going to show you the destruction and the aftermath of what is happening on this island after that earthquake. So we're gonna walk slow here because the destruction, as you will see, will mostly be by the streets. And even on my right here, you can already start to see destruction. And of course, there's a mosque here in the front that is completely destroyed after the earthquake. So it's 2 earthquakes in the past week. We're gonna try and cross the road here. And I just want you guys to know that I have my phone here with me, and we're live on CGTN social media platforms, so Facebook as well. And if you have any questions, you can ask on the Facebook page. Just leave your questions on the comment below, and I will try to answer them if I know the answer to it. So let's just see what is happening on my left here. As you can see, this mosque is pretty much in ruins after this earthquake. Now, authorities are saying that the death toll right now is more than 131 people, but authorities expect that number to rise because the search and rescue team are going through massive rubble every single day to still find any signs of life. And they have found survivors in the massive rubble in the past 2 days, today as well, and yesterday. So we know that around 156,000 people have been displaced. They are in evacuation camps around the island, and around 40,000 buildings were destroyed. Now, if you can see, this used to be a neighborhood of homes, but it is completely destroyed in this earthquake. I'm just going to open my Facebook so I can start reading some of your comments, and if you have any questions, I will answer them. All right, so I've got some questions here. Any tourist casualties? No, we have not recorded, the authorities rather, have not recorded any casualties of foreign nationals. No international tourists were injured during this earthquake. All of the 131 people that died and also 240 people that were injured are all Indonesian nationals. And that's because the Indonesian government were very quick to evacuate the tourists from the neighboring islands. The 3 Gili Islands, which are close to Lombok, and that was hit pretty bad as well during this earthquake. The Indonesian government was very quick to evacuate all of the tourists pretty quickly in the past 3 days. I'm getting all of your questions, and I will get to them as soon as I can. And you can see here as well, these used to be houses. These are remnants of homes. You can see the door there. All of the people that used to live in this area, they had to leave to temporary shelters, and they have shelters mostly at every corner of the island. The authorities have set up a lot of these temporary camps, these evacuation camps, and there are around 156,000 people that are staying there. And you can also see people setting up camps near their houses that were destroyed, as we can see right here. All right, I'm getting a question. Somebody's asking me when it happened. It happened, so Lombok went through 2 earthquakes in the past week. The first one happened last Monday, which was around 6.3 magnitude. Pretty heavy. 14 people died last week. Thousands of buildings were destroyed. And then they had another earthquake. And then they had another earthquake this past Sunday, and it was 7 magnitude. And initially, we got reports that 85 people died on Sunday, and around 150 were injured. But the death toll rose very quickly, and it's now at 131 people. And the number of people that are injured are around 236. So as you can see here, these are the people that live around this area, and they have set up their own temporary camp, basically. And as you can see, these are the people that probably have their houses next to here that have been destroyed. Somebody's asking if people in Mataram are safe. I think in Mataram there was only around 4 people that died. A lot of the damage and the destruction actually happened in North Lombok, and a lot of the number of casualties and deaths are actually from that area of North Lombok. How is it today? Did we have some small earthquake? We did have a small earthquake today as well, around 4.3 at 1 p.m. Yesterday we had a pretty big, Monday we had a pretty big aftershock, around 5.8 or so, and that was enough to send fear and worry among the residents. I'm still reading your comments, so if you have any questions, just let me know. Is there any major aftershock? We haven't had a major one since Monday. We had one on Monday around 5.8, as I mentioned. But so far, we haven't had any major ones. This afternoon, it was around 4.3 at 1 p.m. So we're actually going to take you to a place just basically along the street. The destruction is pretty bad, and we're going to show you how bad it is. Any international aids offered to Indonesia? The authorities actually talked about this in the press conference, and they have not asked for international aid yet, and they say that they don't need it yet. So that's where it stands for now. So we have had no international aid. Just started to rain here. But who knows, maybe after a week or so, if things don't quicken, if the evacuation process or the search and rescue team process does not quicken, then maybe they would consider international aid.
Info untuk para jamaah Dusun Wadon karena hujan, jadi diharapkan untuk membereskan hal-hal yang perlu diangkat mungkin untuk menghindari hal yang tidak diinginkan. Amin.
What's the general sentiment among the earthquake victims? All right, so like I said, the earthquakes victims are dispersed among many evacuation camps, and right now basic necessities is very important for them. The Indonesian government actually mentioned how they do not have enough basic necessities like clean water. They don't have enough food. And so where we are right now, there are a lot of camps, and this area is actually, from what I can see, is well taken care of. but we've been to areas that are far away from here, like an hour or 2 hours away, and I'm just gonna focus on crossing the road. And those areas actually still need help. I see that I spoke to a lot of the evacuees, and they basically tell me that they don't have basic necessities like clean bathroom and clean water, and that is what they desperately need. Thank you so much for sending all of your questions. I'm reading all of them right now, and we have a lot of people commenting from all around the world. Thank you for watching. Any warning for tsunami? Yes, we did have a warning initially when it happened on Sunday, but it turned off very quickly around 2 hours after the earthquake. And that's one thing that Indonesians are very afraid of, because we had a huge tsunami in 2004. As you all might know, in Banda Aceh, around 250,000 people died there. So people are always very cautious when it comes to tsunami warnings. All right, now as you can see, these used to be houses of people, and now it is completely destroyed. All right, Michael's asking in which city did this happen? This is in Lombok, Indonesia. We are in Lombok right now. Keep sending your questions, everybody. So one of the most challenging thing right now when it comes to the aftermath of this earthquake is actually the search and rescue operations. So there are even much bigger rubble such as this, and the Indonesian government is still working on sending in heavy machineries and equipments to dig through this rubble to hopefully find any survivors or any signs of life, because just 2 days after the earthquake happened, they actually found somebody alive under a massive rubble. I think I'm getting quite a bit of questions about tourism, about tourists. Well, according to the Indonesian authorities, about 8,800 of them were actually evacuated in the past 3 days, and they did that by plane and by boat as well. So most of these tourists were actually in the Gili Islands. So near Lombok, there are 3 Gili Islands, which are very popular for a holiday, and that's near Bali as well. So a lot of these tourists were evacuated to Lombok from Gili, and then from Lombok they make their way to Bali. All right, I'm getting some questions. How are the children coping with the disaster? That's a really good question. We actually spoke to a doctor today that was helping children and the elderly, and she said right now medical assistance is getting better, but they're still needing a lot more doctors, a lot more volunteers, and most importantly, they need food and they need medicines. So right now things are okay, and anytime there's a disaster, whether it's earthquake or flooding or landslides, the National Disaster Mitigation Agency at any evacuation camp always sets up a special tent for kids, because most of the time some of them don't really know what's going on, some of them don't really know what's happening, and so making sure that their time is passed by quickly, and having special psychologists and having special teachers that kind of help them with day-to-day activities is very important. So children are coping fine because the Indonesian government is giving a special attention to them. How can we help them? That's a very good question. So there is an open bank account that you can immediately send money to, but I know a lot of the donations that are coming from across the country is actually coming from the Indonesian Red Cross, and there are many other independent donation groups that where if you don't want to donate money, you can donate, for example, clothes, blankets, things that these people in the evacuation camp really need. I'm still reading your Facebook comments. So it's actually really interesting to see how some structure, they're completely destroyed, but other houses are, you know, still standing, but just with a little cracks here and there. Well, this one is pretty badly damaged. So we also heard today at the press conference, speaking about tourists again, that there are few tourists that actually refuse to leave the island. They refuse to be evacuated because they think that everything is going to be fine in the next few days. So we asked the search and rescue team about that, and they said that for those tourists, they're going to continue to monitor them. Did the earthquake only hit Lombok city, or it reached nearby city or villages? Well, we know that Bali was hit by this earthquake as well, and in past Sunday, the 7.0-magnitude earthquake. In Bali, only about 2 people died, and only a couple of buildings were destroyed. But it was powerful enough to destroy some buildings in Bali as well, and we have casualties in Bali as well. How many people died? Right now, the death toll is at 131 people as of this afternoon. It's actually rising very quickly because 2 days ago it was at 85, and then it went up to 105, and then, 98, and then 105, and now it's at 131. And that's because the search and rescue agency is continuously searching through the massive rubble every single day to make sure that they have not left any survivors that could still be under the debris. And so they want to make sure that if there are any survivors, that they can get to them as quickly as possible. But one of the challenges is that they don't have the proper machineries, they don't have the proper equipments to dig through these rubbles, and in some places they have had to dig by hand, and it takes a very long time. And so they're still looking for ways to quicken this search and rescue process. Yep, some people are still alive. I'm reading comments that said, thank God they're still alive. So this destruction is basically until the entire end of the street. So there are some houses that are still standing, like this house in front of us that you're seeing. Well, this one is destroyed, but the one next to it is perfectly fine. All right, thank you guys so much for sending in your questions. You can keep sending them and I'll try to reply to the comments in the comment section below. We're here still in Lombok to monitor this situation to make sure that the island can go back to normal, operate as normal. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.